I mean, if the Seahawks fans better be screaming out there. And this is for the game. And now the kick is up. And that is right through the uprights. And that is good. And the ball game is over. The Seattle Seahawks will go down against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers will go to 4-1, and the Seahawks will go to 3-2, 38-35 Buccaneers. And all I can say, it was that costly interception by Sam Darnold, and that's all I can really say.
I would say that there was things that built up to that point. So can you blame it on the last thing that happened, or do you blame it on the things that caused that to get to that point?
I get what you mean, but when you're the quarterback, you are expected at the very last moments of the game, you are absolutely expected on very tight situations like that. You have to deliver. Like, this is the same stuff we saw from Geno Smith, who couldn't close the game, and Sam Darnold failed to do so as well with that interception. Now, granted, he had a really good game. Like, let's look at the interception, his passing. I mean, he had a great game. It was 28 of 34, 341 yards, 4 touchdowns, and unfortunately that one interception. Yeah. Most of the work was being done was by Jackson Smith and Jigba, 132 yards and a touchdown, and even the running game with 122 combined rushing yards. And also, and yeah, a good point by Kevin Kirby. Why are you passing on a 2nd and 2? But at the same time, guess what I also said? I also said pass the ball. So I'll take the blame for saying that. But yes, now it's easy to say in hindsight, yeah, but you should have maybe at least not go for a big pass. Should have gone for at least a short pass, or maybe just Sam Darnold scrambles it himself. But the other thing too is Seahawks gave up crucial 3rd down plays. I think they gave up 2 or 3 plays where it was 3rd and 15, and they still gave up huge plays on those drives. That's why Baker Mayfield was able to get those big passes. So, biggest factors of this game was Sam Darnold with that interception at the very last of it. And then how about the fact that Seahawks defense was absolutely atrocious. They gave up critical 3rd down plays where when it's 3rd and 15, usually it's just hopeless for that offense. But the defense, they failed miserably. And that was a reflection of the fact that Julian Love is out and Devon Witherspoon is also out. So that is a big factor on why the defense was terrible. And the guys that were supposed to step up, they failed to do so, which was why it was a 38-35 game. And were there any other problems that you saw? Because offensive line was great. I can give them that, because they didn't even give up. I don't think they gave up even 1 sack for the Seahawks, but so was the offensive line for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is why we saw Baker Mayfield having an insane amount of time. He had so much time to throw.
So the couple of different things in that game is, and part of it in games like this is your quarterback and how they finish the game, but also part of it is your kicker. Because you think about it, if their kicker made more kicks than us, he made more field goals than us. That was one of the big deciding factors of the game. Our defense didn't play great, but our defense is injured. You try to overcome that stuff, and Sam Darnold had a great game. He made one mistake at the end of the game, but it was a lot of stuff that built to that point. So I can't really put all the blame on Sam Darnold for this game, because, like you said, you can talk about the defense not playing great. Our offense didn't do well the first couple of drives, and after that they got in rhythm, so they were doing really great. And then you also got to think about, okay, if that kicker didn't miss that kick, we might have tied the game, and the game would have went to overtime. We don't know who would have won then. So there's a lot of other factors that built to this point and some of that. And it's the first one that he's kind of like if you look at these 2 games where we lost, you can see plays that look like a Sam Darnold mistake, but it's really Sam Darnold's fault at the end of the day. It's very hard to say, because with Geno Smith, it was very obvious. You could see in some games that it was Geno's fault. He just literally threw it to the other team in the red zone. Here was oh, the ball bounced off the guy's helmet. The bad throw there, just bounced off the guy's helmet. So it's like it's a different situation because when you compare what Sam Darnold has done to what Geno did for us before, Geno was like interception in the red zone. This was way back at like the 30-yard line, going down for a drive. I know it's not great. And the other one we had in the first game of the season, it was some guy, one of our players fell into Sam Darnold and the ball fell out. So it's kind of like, can you really put all the pressure on him? I don't know. That's why I say Sam Darnold overall has had a better success with the Seahawks right now, than Geno. I would say it.
Well, the other thing that the other thing we can also talk about also with the fact that Jason Myers missed that really critical field goal. And I know that it was early in the game, but those are things that just add up. Like people can just say, oh, it's just 3 points. No, like you have to get every bit of points because every point counts. Everything matters. Just reasons why you don't want to say it's just one game. No, stuff like that just adds up. So
yeah, and like you said, the field goal, that's a big thing there. Like that's twice that's 2 weeks in a row that Jason Myers has put us in this situation. He won one because Sam Darnold bailed him out. You got to admit, last week Sam Darnold bailed.
Not only that, last week it was also Arizona's terrible kick at the very end of the game.
That's true.
Also what didn't help.
So you could also say that it was Arizona's fault. Like, if you look at this, Tampa Bay looks like a more competent organization than Arizona. They executed better and won the game. Then, that's how they were. So, and that's the thing about it is that we still have even I think Mike McDonald says, it's like, even if you win or lose, it's like there's still things to clean up.
Well, they better clean it up quickly because this is the second loss was not only attributed to the fact that Sam Darnold couldn't finish those drives, the very last ones. Now, the first one, he just ran into the guy, or just a lot of confusion going on. But also, the defense has just been terrible this season. And last time they lost, that was with a fully strength defense. But now Seahawks are depleted. No Devon Witherspoon, no Julian Love. So that's why the big plays just couldn't happen. And we can also, like Fritz is saying that, and I will take this, I will own it myself, that I said that it was okay to pass because they were just too deep into their own territory.
Yeah.
So I thought the pass would have been okay, but I didn't think like going for a little like a mid kind of pass, maybe like a short kind of pass, and that's what Fritz is saying. They should have just run the ball on that one because the Seahawks running game wasn't that bad. Like Kenneth Walker was making some big plays. Zach Charbonnet made some critical plays when it was needed to the most.
Yeah. And I don't feel bad for us losing this game because we played really great, And I think overall, I feel really strong about our team and stuff like that. I feel more upset about the first loss we had to San Francisco than I feel about this loss. Because when I looked at the season and I looked at the start of the season, I said that Tampa Bay could be a game we could lose. I already said that at the beginning of the season. So I already knew in my mind that if I looked at what games we would lose and the amount of maybe we could lose, 5 to 7 games this year, I could see that this was one of the games. The San Francisco game, I felt like that was a bigger hurt to the organization this season overall than this game has been. And so
I guess, yeah.
So that's how I look at this at the end of the day, because, you can't win every game and you're going to lose at least 5 games a year on average. So you got to go back to it and say, hey, well, where's the losses? And so to me, I'm like, this happened to us. We didn't execute well at the end of the we didn't execute well at the end of the game. We had some mistakes early on in the game. We should have never got down 0-13. That's a lot to catch. It is something to catch up. And I knew we would catch it up, but that's still work to do, And so like you said, we said this before, we don't do as well at home. We know to execute on the road, but we can't execute at home.
That is the weird part. But the other thing that kind of gets me too is when the Seahawks scored on that last drive, the only thing I was concerned about, it was the fact that they didn't really do a good job managing the clock. It seemed that they were just scoring like they were in a hurry as if it was a 2-minute drill when they had just too much time. Mm-hmm. And knowing how much the defense had been struggling all game, I think they should have milked the clock as much as they could, like run plays there and there, some short passes, but not like the big passes. Now, granted, it was cool that Sam Darnold made a big oopsie pass. That was like on a 4th and 2. But even before that, they were making too big of plays. And I know that you got to make the big plays. You got to score whenever there is like opportunities. But there was also an opportunity to just keep milking the clock because Tampa Bay's defense also wasn't that great either. And as long as you weren't throwing interceptions, I think it was okay to just burn the clock up until the very last seconds of the game. Now, it does seem very unrealistic to burn the clock with like 7 minutes left, but I still think they should have just closed it just a little bit more. So there's a lot of things that just went wrong, but I think my top 3 is bad clock management, bad defense, and just the fact that Sam Darnold just couldn't finish. And now you can't put 100% of it. But the thing is, when you are the starting quarterback, when you are the captain of the team, you are expected to make the big plays. Like, not every game is going to be handed to you by great defense. So sometimes you just got to be there to be able to perform in such clutch moments. Like, even with the bad defense by the Buccaneers themselves, Baker Mayfield, he still made big plays when he needed to the most. I mean, granted, yeah, sure, all he had to do was just hand the ball to the running back and just burn extra clock. But still, he was able to lead this team into a very needed victory, which it was a clear needed victory. And Baker Mayfield has been leading one of the leaders in game-winning drives. So, again, biggest factors of the game was that was going against the Seahawks. Bad defense, Sam Darnold throwing the interception, and also bad clock management. Give me your big 3 mistakes of this game.
Well, I think one of the things that we noticed with Mike Macdonald as being a first-time head coach in his career and stuff like that, I think the big thing is that because he's so well known for his defense, he relies so much on the defense. You know what I mean? He sometimes gets a little too safe with the offense. Like, you got a guy in there that's a little bit more safe than Ryan Grubb with our offensive play calling. So I think that part of that is Mike Macdonald, the fact being too safe on offense and being relying too much on the defense. Saying, hey, the defense can get us out of all these problems. And yes, it does keep us in the games a lot, and we always are very competitive. So that's kind of a thing there. I think the other big problem I see in the game is Jason Myers. I think Jason Myers, that's 2 weeks in a row that he's been something that's caused more fans a headache, maybe than a savior of things. You know, I feel like he's the reason why sometimes we're in these situations. So I think it's Mike Macdonald's defense. I think it's the defense. Then I think it's also the part of it's like Mike Macdonald and the defense. And then the other problem I see is the Jason Myers problem. And then I just think that, like, what's the other thing I see in this game? It's just like end of game management. Like, you know, like you said, it's like how do we manage the game better at the end? Because we did leave a lot of time on the clock. We gave them like 3 minutes left. That's a lot of time to deal with and move because everybody has a 2-minute offensive drill and stuff. So I think that's the 3 things I kind of see where it's like we did leave a lot of time on the clock. But those are kind of things that built throughout the game. And that's where I see. And another thing is like, you know, it's like you said about Sam Darnold, is like, yes, the pressure goes to the quarterback. And I understand that a lot of it goes to the quarterback, but I don't want to blame 100% on the quarterback. So like, it could be like maybe 25% blame is on the quarterback for having that pass, maybe something like that. But I think there's a lot of that built to that factor. So I still give him some of the blame because he did have to throw the interception. So that is on him. So I would say that's maybe what, a third of the problem of the game, maybe a fourth of the problem of the game, and why we lost.
But it was mostly defense and bad clock management.
Yeah.
But I think we're pretty much
agree.
Yeah, I think there's things that we can agree with. I know that you said that I'm a bit too harsh on the quarterback, but I'm also the guy that's like, well, not everything's handed to you, so you better on the last drive, you're still expected to like perform at a game-winning drive situations because Baker Mayfield do it, other quarterback greats have done it. So yes, I agree. Defense was terrible, bad clock management, but even on that very last moment, you still got to perform because if you ain't going to do it in the regular season, how are you going to do it in the playoffs? But that's just my thoughts. And
well, like you're saying, it's like you can put some of the blame on the quarterback, but in games like this, and you see the whole picture, he's only a piece of the whole reason why we lost. So like I said, it's 20, maybe 30% of the of the problem is the quarterback not finishing and not having that interception. But like you said, like we both agree, it's like there's multiple things that factor into this. And it's like, you got to be able to finish as a quarterback. The greats can finish, and that's why you considered a top tier quarterback versus considered a mid tier quarterback.
It's true. Well, that I think is going to do it for me and ourselves. But Epic C Films, do you have any last second advice in life before we get off this show?
Yes. Have fun, live life, don't drink, don't smoke, and, just have a wonderful day.
Absolutely. Everyone, thank you very much for watching, and go Hawks.
Go Hawks.